Funding for presentation of this program is provided by.
These are people who are trying to change the world. Startups have this energy that energizes me. I'm thriving by helping others every day. People who know BDO.
Funding was also provided by the Freeman Foundation and by Judy and Peter Bloom Kofler Foundation, pursuing solutions for America's neglected needs.
And now, BBC News.
Live from Washington, this is BBC News. The US carries out retaliatory airstrikes against dozens of targets in Syria and Iraq linked to Iran. This strike comes in response to Sunday's attack in Jordan that killed 3 US service members. Earlier, President Biden took part in a dignified transfer for those soldiers in Delaware. He says the US response will continue at times and places of its choosing. Hello, I'm Katrina Perry. You're very welcome. The US has retaliatory airstrikes against Iranian-backed targets in Iraq and Syria, hitting 85 targets in total. The White House says manned and unmanned aircraft struck 3 targets in Iraq and 4 in Syria. These are new pictures released by US Central Command of B-1 bombers taking off to carry out those strikes. President Biden has issued a statement saying, "This afternoon, at my direction, US military forces struck targets at facilities in Iraq and Syria that the IRGC and affiliated militia used to attack US forces. Our response began today. It will continue at times and places of our choosing." He continued, "The United States does not seek conflict in the Middle East or anywhere else in the world, but let all those who might seek to do us harm know this. If you harm an American, we will respond." The strikes are in retaliation for the drone attack in Jordan on Sunday that killed 3 US soldiers and injured dozens more. Iran denies involvement, calling the accusations baseless and says it's involved in the decision-making of resistance groups. The US says it did inform the Iraqi government about the strikes before they happened, but an Iraqi spokesman has responded to those strikes, saying, "These airstrikes constitute a violation of Iraqi sovereignty, undermine the efforts of the Iraqi government, and pose a threat that could lead Iraq and the region into dire consequences." The spokesperson added that the outcomes will have severe implications on the security and stability in the region. Well, the BBC's World Service correspondent, Nafise Konrad, has a special view from Baghdad.
I heard from other Iraqi officials here in Baghdad that Prime Minister Soudani also has asked Tehran to contain and put more pressure on groups that following IRGC and following attacks on carrying out attacks on US bases, mentioning to Iran that these attacks are jeopardizing the Iraqi government's efforts to reduce the number of American forces in this country as part of the coalition forces, and also even finish their mandate because the war against ISIS has finished. And this is what Iraqi militia also emphasizing, that they want the US leave, the US forces or the US combat forces, as they say, leave Iraq. And despite that the US says that they don't have combat forces here, but it is still complicated. That's why these Iraqi militia repeatedly attack the US bases, not only